Okay,
Yay.
okay. This is Emily Hauser. I'm the chair of the Conservation Advisory Council, and we are meeting in a hybrid mode here at Conference Room 1 at City Hall and also on Zoom. So the meeting is called to order at 6:18. So can we have right now, I'm just gonna, there's Emily, Kevin, Helen, and Ted, and Julie Noble, and Anita Collins is gonna be late. Okay, Julie, do you want to go over meeting protocol?
Sure. So this meeting is going to be probably different from others. We're currently not live streaming, although that is something that they're working on. This is being recorded. And for this meeting, the public was invited to either attend in person, or I did put out the Zoom link today. Typically, that's not going to be the case. They're either going to be in person and have told us in advance that they're going to be coming, or they're going to be telling us in advance that they're going to be interested in speaking, and they'll be sent a Zoom link. Otherwise, people will be watching it on live stream. But that wasn't set up yet, so we are here via Zoom and via in person. So if someone does come to the meeting via Zoom, Emily, you can call on them and they can speak, or whatever you'd like to do.
Okay.
But you will need to, unless you make me the co-host, you're gonna have to watch to see if there's any attendees. So if you don't wanna have to watch that, make me the co-host.
Okay. How do I do that?
So click on my name,
Oh. Find your name.
and the participants, bring up participants,
Mhm.
click on my name, there's like a thing next to that.
Mhm.
Should be an option that says make co-host. Like 3 dots next to my name.
My, I, if you just came this is a lot. It's right there. Sure. Thank you. Okay, so Julie is co-host. She's going to watch it in tense.
Sorry.
Okay, are there any modifications to the agenda?
You have to accept being promoted to a panelist.
Oh, I
The-
rejected that, sorry.
I just want to say that I think the raise letter is in here. Would that be communications? Or
Yep.
do we have to? Okay.
Communications.
So is there anything other modifications? All right. Can we review the monthly meeting minutes? And I just put a few in that were really just typos pretty much. And I had sent those to everyone.
One question, is Sebastian out?
Sebastian is not a member. He didn't ever reapply.
Okay, I saw that I saw that you'd taken him off. I'll take him off this month too then, all right. Cause I had him on the draft, I'll delete him. Unstable. This is
All right, are there any, is there a motion to accept the minutes as amended?
yeah, I'll make the motion, sure.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Okay. All right, so all in favor, raise your hand or say hello.
Aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, next. And I just want to say right now, we don't have any members of the public. So we're going to go to old business and wood smoke. So Julie, do you have anything on that?
I will say that there was an article in the paper. That Bard put out some press about the most recent data, and the paper picked up on it. Bard also put it out in the press on their website and other things. So more people are knowing about it, I guess. Don't really have any other updates besides that. I mean, there's been a good response so far to the anti-idling signage.
Oh, great.
Actually enough that people have been reaching out, one, to add them in additional locations. So we added at least one more since the last meeting on Grant Street by Hutton Park. And people have also been reaching out and saying, you know, I see somebody who's idling, what should I do about it? Or I see somebody who's idling on purpose and they're doing it to be snarky, and I see them sitting next to the sign and they're idling, and I said something to them about it and they said, do something, they basically threatened me, so.
I have to go get my mouse.
I said, basically to direct people to parking enforcement and police department. Because I mean, none of us have any authority over enforcement, unfortunately. So, we'll see. I don't know what the enforcement has been, but there's definitely been, I think, a good response so far to the signage. And the mayor did put in his newsletter, an article about the anti-idling legislation. And I guess that is probably it.
All right, Emily's
I just had that one thing we talked about, Julie, with the filming. Did you?
Oh, great. Oh, yeah. Yes, let's talk about that. So, Ted, do you want to start that conversation?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, I work uptown a lot with my partner, and while the film projects are working uptown, I mean, sometimes they park on our block in front of our house, and or all over the place uptown, and they idle for very long periods of time, and you can actually like smell the exhaust and stuff from it. So my understanding is that some trucks have to run because they're powering like lights or refrigeration and stuff. But it makes me wonder if when we have these agreements with the film projects to use Kingston as a production site, if there might be something worked into those agreements that they're aware of the idling laws and make an actual effort not to run their trucks constantly.
That's a great thing. So who are those agreements with? The mayor's office?
So yeah, the mayor's secretary, Roy, handles the filming crews. I don't know what arrangements they have, if they have contracts, if they have meetings, if they sign anything. I don't know any of that. I can look into it for sure. Ted was just talking.
Yeah.
about it. I could definitely do the research to see what the arrangement is. What would be the ask to have them stop idling, to follow the policy, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my personal experience was, I was at a yoga class and I was looking out at the back of the Woolworths building, former Woolworths building. And it was a sheriff's car. They were supposed to be in New Orleans. And it was a car that no one was using. It wasn't the truck or anything. And needless to say, my peace of mind in my yoga class was definitely upset. And they said that it was a really old car and they had to run it. You know, it was like from the 70s or something, but there was no excuse for them running it in the weather or anything. So it's one thing also for something like what you're saying versus a vehicle that's just part of the film.
But I used to live in Brooklyn Heights where they did filming all the time, and they don't need to run, they have trucks that they don't need to run the engine in order to operate, or I mean, they're designed
Not
to
to,
exist all day, every day, sitting in situ, so
Right,
it just sounds like somebody was being lazy.
okay,
So I think what I'm saying is I don't think it would be unreasonable to put a provision when they get permission from the mayor's office to say you mustn't idle.
right. Well, and it's now a city law, so
Right,
they need to do
so
it.
you have to obey city laws,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I'll definitely look into see what exists, and see what we can do.
And I know that Ulster County Office of Economic Development has like a whole film industry like website trying to attract these people. So I don't know if they have agreements with them too, but that might be another level of, you know, action with this.
Well, certainly in the city, all of these things were done, they were bent over backwards to not piss off the local community.
Yeah.
And I think maybe we don't have as much leverage as somewhere with a view wraparound views of Manhattan, but nevertheless, it's a historic place and they're coming here for a reason, so
Right.
I think we have enough leverage to hold their feet to the fire.
that sounds.
I'm
good.
happy to help too, Julie, if you need help.
All right, if you want to look into what the counties, if the county has stipulations about it, and I'll definitely look into what the arrangement is on our end, and like how the communication even happens and what, like, anyway, our process, and see how we can influence that.
Yeah, it says there's an Ulster County Film Office in,
Mhm.
on 244.
Okay,
And really, just to reiterate, it's not an influence, it's the law, so.
right, so it could be in the contract, it could say you have to obey all laws,
Right,
right?
right.
In-
So I just want to say also that WAMC picked the press release up also.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and I sent it out sometime today. It was today. But it was pretty much what we've already heard.
Yeah, WAMC interviewed the mayor about it.
Right, he was quoted, yes. So I
I have-
wanted to bring up- Go ahead.
I have just another quick question about the anti-idling law. Does it, I assume it wouldn't apply for like private property like Kingston Plaza, right? Or is Kingston Plaza considered like
It
the
applies
street
everywhere.
part? Oh, okay. Because I do, like, that's the other place in Kingston that I see it a lot is Kingston Plaza. And the post office too.
Yeah, the post office is the location that I was mentioning before, that somebody was being snarky and said, you know, I do what I want to do. And frankly,
Okay,
if somebody is ridiculous enough to want to waste their own money and their own gas, but yes. the
and it's
post
not
office-
good for your car or yourself to sit in an idling car.
Right,
When I was walking over here, there was a car that didn't have any drivers and it wasn't even in front of a house. It might have been in front of a house across the street, but who, would I just call the police then?
you would, so the way that we've been told is going to be enforced is that if it is occupied, it is a police phone call. And if it is unoccupied, it is parking enforcement.
Oh, okay.
I'm not sure the parking enforcement would go onto someone's private property though.
Right.
So I'm just looking at the legislation right now to be sure that I'm not misspeaking to your question, Ted. To all motor vehicles as defined in Article 1 of the Vehicle and Traffic Law of the New York State, not currently regulated under New York State Code of Rules and Regs, idling prohibition for heavy-duty vehicles. No person shall allow, cause, or permit the engine of any motor vehicle to run for more than 10 consecutive minutes while parking, standing, or stopping in the city of Kingston. Does not say if it's on city property, public property, or private property. It is within the city limits.
10 minutes is quite a long time.
Yeah,
Right,
it's
10 minutes is a
long.
long time.
Okay, I wanted to, I just want to bring this up. We have a really big schedule today, but this goes under air quality. At one point, there was some information that we got on leaf blowers and gasoline leaf blowers. And I was wondering if anyone was interested in that and kind of taking that up. And then we would just move forward at another time on it. Or look into it. Is anyone interested in looking it up?
I'm interested in looking up whether there's legislation about it, or
Whether we could get the city of Kingston to ban gas powered.
I thought that what we discussed was that it would potentially hurt service providers.
Yeah,
who
but
employ
there would be
people.
like a 5-year
Right.
phase in. So is anyone interested in looking at that, or should we just table it?
I think I would, actually.
Okay. All right, so we can start looking into that. Thank you.
I will.
Okay, so the next thing is open space planning. And so the community preservation plan is the first thing. And Ted, Kevin, and I have been appointed to the ad hoc advisory committee, and we've been asked for some times to meet in the last week of April. And Julie can go on from that.
Yeah, so right now, as Emily stated, we are forming the project advisory committee. So I have requests out to about 15 people that include folks from the land trust and the scenic Hudson and relevant city departments and planning and Farm Hub and lots of different organizations. And I've got a good response so far. We plan to, as Emily said, have our first project advisory committee meeting the last week in April. I've been meeting weekly with BN, the team, to talk about, the project, to move the project forward. We have we've been sharing data. So the Rick, who is our GIS specialist, the sub-consultant, has been reviewing the data, and I've also been speaking with the team about how to work on our first community outreach, like mail or whatever. So we're looking at different options for doing the community survey, and we'll talk more about that at the project advisory committee meeting. So things are moving along. I do, as I mentioned earlier in the email, anyone who has timesheets, I need those. Kevin, I got yours, thank you.
Sorry, I need to give you mine.
It's okay.
Excuse me, Julie.
Yep.
Anita is here as a
Yep,
attendee.
got her, thank you. So Ted, I caught up with you. Kevin, I got yours. Emily, you're gonna get me yours. And
What's the
Helen,
deadline?
as soon as you can.
Oh, okay.
And if you want to do it today, I've got a form right here.
Okay.
Fill it out.
Pass it down.
Okay. Yep.
Okay, all right, great. So I guess I wanted,
Thank you. Yep.
will we continue as the CAC to kind of report out on how this is happening?
Yep. If that's okay, or?
Yeah, no, it's fine. I just, because it's, yeah, it'll be more of our time at a different meeting.
Yes.
Okay, the Norwalk, Connecticut. I am going to share my screen. I'm going to try to do this. Cool. All right. So. Okay, so I did not call anyone in Norwalk, but they have like a 40-page document that goes into their urban, on how to do an urban conservation map, basically. And So I read it. So just going back a long time ago, there was a webinar for Norwalk with Norwalk, Connecticut about what they're calling urban conservation, with the idea that urban areas are different than a more rural area. And so what other things, other layers or criteria would they put in? So I went through it, and I'm not going to bring up the map. It's really hard to use like on the fly like this. But I want to say that they pretty much have done what we did, which was the impervious cover for urban heat island, tree canopy cover, pretty much the same things. And they've also done the walking routes and some other things. And so like one of the things that we did in our plan, in our open space plan, was to kind of show how far away someone was from a park. They did that also. So the difference in the data that I would say, just kind of generally, is they took two things. They took human connectivity and they used these four modeling criteria: walking routes, transportation stops, 10-minute walk to park zone, and the bike paths. And we pretty much did everything but transportation stops, I would say. You guys can tell me if I'm wrong. And then the other ones, like the urban heat island, flood risk, recreation, these are all things that we definitely did. And then the ones that we didn't do is the equity and social factors. And this goes into, the reason I'm bringing this up, this goes into kind of a conversation that we had last week, and whether or not any of this could be brought into preservation planning. But the equity and social factors are things like percent minority in the area, percent low income, percent less than high school, those kind of things. And so they have layers in the GIS maps. And then the public health was these. And these were pretty, and I want to say that they did particulate matter concentration. I thought that was interesting. So this, other than, the rest of the urban planning were those kind of things that we already have in our open space plan, the ecology and those kind of things. But these were the ones that we would have to add. I will say that because this data is usually very, it's not pinpointed, so it's very broad. So you might get, something like a tree canopy is very specific and fine grained, but things like the public health thing, there might be just like 6 splotches on the map. So, but anyway, so that's what I got out of it. And, the book that they have is basically how to do this. And they did it for, a very specific location, but they wrote it so that other people could take it up. So are there any questions?
So is there any of this that we could work into the community preservation plan?
If the data, well, we could do public transportation, but
That would be great.
if we could find the data, especially the equity and social factors, because I think that is probably provided by the DEC.
What is the column on the right?
This is where they got their data. So this is Connecticut. So, DEEP is the Department of Ecology or.
What is EJ screen?
I think they have a, sorry, I just cut these 2 pages. 6 is Environmental Screening and Mapping Tool, EPA. But I think DEC has something like this. And then the same thing, I don't know where we would get.
Environmental Justice Screening and Mapping Tool.
Yeah, so we could get that for, I don't know what we have. Oh, so that's EPA, so we could get it.
Right.
And these were all national data.
Well, we happen to be in a period of time when I have a consultant that's gathering GIS data, pulling it together for mapping. So I mean, if we want to be adding these layers in, now's the time.
Yeah, I think it would be really interesting. Because it would tell it also is about, preserving public space.
Right, okay, so which ones do we want?
I think we should, okay, so up above, which I cut off, but, this is table 2, and table 1 was everything they thought about getting, and then table 2 is what they cut, what they decided on positively. So we would really need to go back to the whole list to see if there was something that we wanted that. And then, I didn't go into the fine details of why they chose these and left off some others. But I could go back and, how do you want to decide? Do you want to decide today and just say, well, these look good? Or
Well,
I can
I
bring
think
the other
that
book up.
it would be most relevant to have this exact same conversation at the PAC meeting
Okay,
and have the PAC decide.
okay. All right, so and I could come with the whole list.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So I've, that's all. Any other questions on that? Parcel conservation in Kingston.
So nothing really has proceeded, just as a reminder, I'm currently evaluating about 10 parcels that the city owns along Wilbur and South Wall Street for removal from the tax rolls and placement into permanent conservation easement or parkland. It just is not currently on the most important, I mean, it's not on the back burner, but it just hasn't risen above some of the other things that I need to get done, so. My plan is to continue to proceed with figuring out how to do that, and I just don't have an update right now.
Okay. All right. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a question does anyone know about the parcel that is on O'Reilly? So if you were on Wilbur and you were going towards Kingston and you go under the railroad and you think it's all 12 still, but there's actually a for sale sign on the
On the
right.
right, coming up,
Yeah, coming up.
did you look on the parcel viewer?
Oh, yeah, I did. I actually wrote it down. I would have to find that. I was hoping that Kevin would know about it and I wouldn't have to worry about it.
You're talking about the golf course parcel, their woodlot?
It is not, it is privately owned.
Yeah, but it could be the golf course. They have a woodlot.
It's not under that name.
I have to go into the parcel.
Here, do you want me to go into it?
Nope,
or-
I'm doing it.
I'm kind of, whoops, that's a different parcel viewer for another jurisdiction. Let's not go there. Okay. Also.
It's on 32 in O'Reilly, or where is it?
So if you were on Wilbur and you were going up O'Reilly, then you would go past the apartments, under the railroad track.
I know where you mean, yeah.
So, all right,
Map this at some.
there's a couple. The first one on the right-hand side, which is a linear one that goes like that,
Mhm.
says the owner is George McMullen.
Yep,
And then the next one is Twoscale.
yep. So it's the McMullen one.
Oh, no, we haven't.
So I just wanted to point that out because it's all wooded, it's steep slope,
It's 1 acre.
it's 1
Uh,
acre.
And there's a for sale, is there a broker involved with this?
I don't think so. And by the way, I haven't seen it, I haven't gone by there in a while. It's
Oh, okay, I see it. It's,
388 Mr. O'Reilly.
It's about an acre, okay. And it's surrounded by the golf course,
Yeah,
yeah, and next to the railroad, okay.
I just wanted to mention that.
I'll follow up on that and see what Greg Shaheen's been up to with that, or
Right.
Shaniqua.
Okay, thank you.
And by the way, I did speak with, or the mayor did speak with Greg about the parcels on Wilbur and South Wall, so they're aware of us trying to secure those, or not secure, but preserve those.
Yeah, I've had those discussions with Greg as well.
Okay. Oh, great, okay.
So, yeah, I think he sort of had a heads up on that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything more on that? And we'll go to Kingston Forward Citywide Rezoning.
Okay, I guess I've been back and forth with Bartek on this a number of times in the last couple of days. I was hoping to get a draft of the transect map. So, and hopefully we can get that before the CPP Project Advisory Committee meets, so that we could compare the natural transect to what's being proposed in the CPP in terms of open space. Now, do you need some information on what transects are?
Well, I got kind of lost when you were saying that, so
Okay,
to know if it was
yeah,
relevant to us, and if it is, then.
yeah, it took me a while to wrap my head around it. When I had sort of dived into the overlay, the conservation overlay thing that both of you were doing, you and Anita.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessary. I think it's if they're going to include that in the what they do is they take the underlying zoning that we have all throughout the city, you know, the C zones, the R zones, the O zones. Yeah, there you go. So that's an office zone. And
Yeah.
they just throw them out and they replace it with transects, and it's T1. They're labeled T1 through T6. T1 starts at open space, natural conservation quality land, and T6 is super dense urban, like think Manhattan or, you know, Kowloon or Hong Kong Central or Shanghai or something. Yeah, I mean, really serious urban core, you know, very dense. Where most of Kingston is C4, which is moderately dense. I don't know if they're going to do C5. If they do, it would probably be either some maybe parts of Rondout or parts of the Stockade, or any new construction that happens, say something like at the King's Inn, if that were to be developed with a dense project. Maybe this Lucas Avenue thing, that might be a C5, questionable, but it's mostly C4. And I think what we're looking at are C1 and C2. C2 is rural and C1 is natural. They weren't going to use C2 initially, and I brought up the question. I said, well, what about, you know, we have some pretty rural parts of Wilbur, and then we have out on First Avenue heading towards, you know, Devil's Lake Road, that area going out towards, where the former AVR property, soon to be Sojourner Truth Park, is located. And they were, oh yeah, well, maybe we should look at that, but I don't have the transect map. So,
Okay, so I just have one question about that. When I think of a transect, I think of, you're looking at a map, looking down at the map, and then you cut it, and then you know, like a geology transect. So how is it, so to me, transect is a linear. It is a
it may
line.
appear linear in the regulating manual too, but it's, you know, just in terms of the forms that they're going to propose for it. I think it often does, but it's really, they're going to replace the zones with the transects.
Okay,
And then they develop the form-based code within the transect, and it may appear linear when they get to the regulating manual. The regulating manual will regulate what goes on within the transect.
okay.
And if you want to get an example of that, I do have something, the Kingston model for it, but it was Hudson Landing, which is again going to be the Sojourner Truth Park Quarry Waters site.
And at some point they.
That had a regulating manual.
Okay,
They were heading in the form-based direction, but I'm not sure that was a true form-based code.
okay, well, I think we can wait on that. But thank you for explaining that. I did want to say that there is a virtual public hearing on April 21st. That is a Thursday. It's at 6 o'clock. You have to register. And they do, the document is the draft scope. This is for the planning, so it's different than, it's for the zoning rewrite. So it's different than like if you were looking at a development. Anyway, so I guess what I would like to know, so I'm going to just tell you a couple things. One, engage Kingston. If you were engaged in that and you're not getting any notices like that, you should just let Bartek know so that you're not having to go to engage Kingston, because there was like a project manager switch and everything, so that you can get a direct email. And you do have to register. And then the thing is do we want to submit, the comments go in until May 2nd. And by attending the meeting, you usually get a little bit of a better idea of what the issue is or not. And so I would just want to kind of be more prepared than we were for the Golden Hill.
One thing I believe they missed was naming CAC as a interested agency.
In this one,
Yeah, they lump together interested and involved, which generally is not done. You kind of keep the permitting agencies separate from the non-permitting agencies when you're doing that.
yeah.
What did they call
They just said interested and involved agencies, and they just gave you a list, and I didn't see CAC there. I didn't see Kingston Land Trust. I didn't see RUPCO. There were a bunch of groups I didn't see. So we may want to make that comment. That I haven't done a deep dive. There's probably other comments once
I haven't
we
either. So
start.
let me see. So the problem is that we don't have a meeting before that. We don't have a meeting before May 2nd. So,
Right.
So-
Well, Landmarks and Heritage have the same problem. Their meeting wasn't on the agenda for their last meeting, and then their next meeting is after the close of comment. So they're kind of shut out unless there's a special meeting. Let's see.
so we have to decide if we can delegate people to do this, or if we're just going to do it all by individually. But we are, as an interested party, we can, we should give comments. Right?
At the very least, we should request to be an interested party.
Right.
I've already put that on the, I asked the Land Trust's Executive Committee to look at that as well and sent them a scoping. Has everybody seen the scoping document?
I literally saw it. That's it. So.
Yeah, okay. It's kind of hiding on Engage Kingston. There's like a page 2, and I didn't see the page 2 until Bartek said, look at page 2. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
It is hard to find.
Yeah, I missed it.
I just want to know kind of the protocol, because this is going to come up with, can we work offline on this and come up with agreements for this and the other one and meet the deadlines?
Yeah, I think if we're authorized to do it, yeah, we'd have to pass a resolution to set up a subcommittee to do that.
All right, so should we do that? Are people interested in at least commenting?
Can I ask what sort of comments and recommendations would we be likely to make? What sort of contribution are we looking to make?
Well,
Go ahead, Emily.
Okay, so for instance, they talk about geology, soils, and topography, and you can read it and you go, well, you didn't see this, or you didn't, what about that?
Oh, okay.
Okay? And I'm not, like plants and animals, okay? So, because this is a environmental impacts, I'm sorry. I'm using the wrong one. This is a draft scoping document, but it looks like the questions are very, they're on like open space, land use, our comments can we say, did a good job, right? And we get to say, well, we really want you to look at this or that. Okay, socioeconomics, multimodal transportation, consistency with community character, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I could see a number of consistencies that should be put in there. We have several processes running simultaneously. Our CPP that we just discussed here, the pedestrian bicycle master plan. Yeah, there's a few things that should be, they should make sure that they're consistent to whatever extent is possible, given the different timelines that these things are running on. But they're, that would be one thing. Just concluding us, I think I already mentioned that. There would be another one.
Well, it's also just good to read it. And
Maybe,
so,
maybe climate smart Kingston. I don't know if they, what they're going to do, or if they're going to have time to do anything. And maybe if we do it, Climate Smart Kingston can pass a resolution to sign on to our comments.
Right.
okay, so, when do are you guys still meeting the 4th?
Yeah.
I believe we got a quorum too. I
Yeah,
think
April
we
27th.
determined that, yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
do we want to pass a resolution for both? Do you want to do this for the Kingston Forward and then for the Golden Hill? Or can we do it lump it? And if so, we could wait till the Golden Hill comes up agenda.
Maybe it'd be best to do it separate, so we're not, commingled projects.
Great. So I'm going to just say what I think this should be. I think we would like to comment on the Kingston Forward citywide rezoning in a timely fashion, and possibly and in written comment form by May 2nd. And so we would like to work on this offline and kind of vote offline on the final wording. And then,
I don't think voting offline is a thing.
so I know, so we can just agree and then we would. I don't
You
know.
can, the council can agree that the subcommittee will finalize the comments. It can delegate to the whatever subcommittee
Okay.
to finalize the comments without having the full council have to come back to review the comments.
Okay, that's what we want to do. What she said.
Aren't we lucky to know? Just saying. Keep us honest.
Okay, so I'm gonna make that motion if I can, just to make it easier.
I
I'll
second.
second.
Okay, Right.
I heard a few people there simultaneously. I
Yeah.
think Anita got it. Yeah, okay.
okay. Okay, and who wants to be on that subcommittee?
I'll be on it.
I'll be on it.
Okay, I'll be on it.
Well, since I just did this, the New York climate webinar, I should at least look at it too, I think.
The one with the conservation overlay, right?
No, she's right. She attended the community. That's the next thing on the agenda.
It was the explanation of the DEC's climate plan that's being.
Oh,
put
okay.
together.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
I mean,
I'm thinking on this, the conservation overlay, some of the language from there should be compared to
That's true.
the scoping and make sure that they have that within their scope.
That's a
Yeah.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
And, but also the Climate Action Council draft scoping plan. They
sure.
have
Yeah, we may
relevant-
want to, yeah, yeah, certainly the the climate initiatives for sure, both the
Yes.
state and the city.
Okay, so, and again, if you want to attend, you have to register. And if you go to Engage Kingston, it's there a little tiny thing that says scoping plan, it says draft, and you click on that to get I mean, I can send it out too, but it's 13 pages.
Yeah, just looking at it now.
It just took me forever to find it, but I finally found it.
Can you put it in the chat?
It's a PDF, but I'll,
There would be a
There's
link.
download.
There's a
I
link.
got it. I'll put it.
It's
in
on
the-
page 2 of the
I'll
engage.
post a link to where I downloaded it from.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'll work.
Okay,
Here it is.
All right, so then moving on, the city plan review. Anything on Flatbush and Foxhall?
No, and Greg Crook has now left the city of Kingston, and I am back to square one.
Oh, wow,
The project hasn't stopped though.
right.
That's true. I'm sorry, and I'm in touch with, actually, Summer Smith is helping me with a couple of other things, but I need to get in touch with Emily, who's taken over his stuff, so,
So Emily Flynn's taking it over?
yeah, I believe, well,
Not Flatbush and Foxhall. She might be taking over complete streets.
when
Is
he
it
was-
just John?
No, we hired 2 new engineers. There's now a gentleman named Keith and a gentleman named Justin.
So who should I talk to?
John
John,
Schulteis.
oh, okay. Thank you.
All right, great. And then the pedestrian bike master plan, I actually took the survey on Engage Kingston, but are we gonna comment on this? Have we missed the chance? Or is this something we should do ourselves? Individually?
I think you can submit comments to Emily.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a plan.
Emily's plan.
I mean, I would think that
No,
Yeah.
there's no direct plan, no.
people can individually go into the crowdsourcing app and make comments individually, but then when a plan comes out, then I think the CAC would review the whole plan.
Okay, thank you. for
Yes, yeah,
explaining that to me. Okay, all right, so I just want to tell you, you can go in and take a survey about if you walk or not. And then you can also put something on your phone and provide input that way. Okay,
I will just mention while we're talking about city plans, one of them that's gonna be coming on, or a couple that are gonna be on the radar coming up soon are the Broadway and Grand intersection improvements. The city has put out a request for proposals for landscape architects to design that intersection. And that's on Engage Kingston, so I would say that, and I'm on the project advisory committee for that. So I will keep folks posted on that. I'm sure there'll be public meetings, but right now the RFP is out for that intersection. So that should be on the radar coming up.
Is that that's the bit where it's really weird the way it goes? Oh, no, that's Prince Street, isn't it?
Broadway and Grand is where Planet Wings used to be, across from the Y.
Yes, yeah, right,
Yeah.
right.
yeah, it's right there, where
Yeah.
it's just grass right now.
Yeah. Deet Stadium, the Andretta Pool RFP is going out in 2 weeks for the pool phase. And we've started discussions on the grandstand. So there's nothing right now for input on that one, but I will keep you posted when there is. And also, it seems like we are going to forge ahead with CCA. So you'll notice that there's a new page on Engage Kingston for community choice aggregation. So I'll keep folks posted on the advancement of that, when there's time for input for that as well.
Does that have another name because it doesn't start with alphabetically, it's not there.
Kingston Community Choice Aggregation, I should have her take out the K. That's a good suggestion.
Yeah, it's hard to find.
I still haven't found it, but does someone else find it?
When I bring up Engage Kingston, it pops up right in the top, but, if you search CCA, it probably should come up.
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, there it is, cool, okay. Awesome. And is there gonna be a whole advisory committee and all of that
Yes.
for that? Okay, yeah.
This is the one with the renewable
Oh, yeah,
energy.
there it is.
Yes.
Right, Sauger seems really happy with what they did. From
Oh, yeah?
what they report on from, at the EMC meetings.
Hmm.
Okay, great. Okay, next. So those are good things to look at. So we're gonna, okay, Ulster County Housing Development Corporation and Golden Hill Development. Okay, so that is called the Penrose Project. And there was a public hearing on April 4th that we were not aware of. We are an interested party. And the public hearing was supposed to be on 4 things: the site plan, the subdivision, the special use permit, and the plan. Wait, I missed one. Site plan, subdivision. Okay,
Special permit.
special permit. I'll get the one. I'll let you know in a second, and secret, of course. Okay, so secret, actually, the secret FEAF really talks about most of this, so I'm gonna just put it up so you can. So I've just done some reading. I know a lot of us went to some of the Penrose webinars and things like that, where they talked about this, but now this is in front of the planning board. And as a city agency, we did not have to meet yesterday's deadline, but we're supposed to meet Fridays. And there are a lot more, and I was told that we could answer anything, that we could comment on anything about the project, but I am trying, but we would probably also have other opportunities because we are the CAC, basically, because we're part of the municipality. So I really just wanted to figure out, one, if we can work on this between now and Friday, because like if no one has any time, that we could just say, sorry, we didn't know about it, we can't work on this. So,
Or ask for an extension.
or ask for extension, because the deadline is 3 o'clock on Friday. That's Good Friday. So, I mean, I'm willing to put some time in, but I need to know what other people can do.
I really don't have time this week for the rest of this week to help.
I looked at it, but I had some problems just with the technical aspects of the stormwater.
I wouldn't.
I'm afraid I'm gonna have Chazen like kick me in the teeth, like, you're not an engineer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And they may be right.
A lot of it is boilerplate, actually, if you,
Yeah.
but the Chazen report was over 250 pages.
284 to be exact. Yeah.
The one thing so we still need to know about this, so we can ask for an extension if that's what you want to do. but I do want to spend some time talking about it. So first of all, I want to ask you whether or not it helped for me to put everything on Google Drive, or if it didn't help because you didn't look at it or you can't get into Google Drive.
I didn't have time to look at it.
Yeah,
I've been dealing with my broken foot and
yeah, I'm so
some
sorry.
car issues.
So sorry. Well, I felt, so did anyone else get to look at the Google Drive?
I looked over some stuff today, but I didn't get too deep, and I also hit a point where I don't know enough about stormwater engineering to, you know, say anything.
Okay. Okay, well, the reason I put stuff on Google Drive was because I felt like I sent you about 12 emails. And so I went ahead and consolidated everything in there because we have a couple other letters we're supposed to talk to about tonight. And so it's just all in there. Okay.
Okay.
So let's just spend, what time? All right, so let's spend like 10 or 15 minutes on this. So I'm going to bring up what I have looked at.
Okay.
Well, all right, I am just going to bring up this. Does everyone feel comfortable that they've looked at the site at all to get an idea, or
Yeah.
do we need to look at that?
I'm okay with it.
That's, I
I
can
think
bring
I'm
that.
okay with it.
Let everybody else decide.
I went to one of the meetings where they had all the artists' renditions and.
So they did. Yeah, it's very hard to see which ones to do. Okay, well, we can flip back and forth if necessary. Let me just do
I did watch the videos of all the Russian stormwater.
oh, you did? Oh, I got,
Yes.
yes, that was very interesting. Okay, so let me just share this screen and then Julie, maybe you could bring up the map, maybe, if you know, it's dated April 1st. All right, so I'm gonna share screen. All right, okay, so I can see my own screen, so that's great. Okay, so first of all, this is a 41-acre site, which they're cutting in two. And 20 is going to be forested and 20 is going to be residential. So the 20.14 is residential. So one of the things that I'm going to bring up right now is why are they doing that? And does that mean they could, are there going to be any restrictions on development in the future?
My
On the
impression was that because it's such a steep hill, that basically it's a sort of steep hill with a flat top, more or less, and that they're building kind of to the edge of where they can,
Mhm.
and the rest of it counts as sort of forest or
Yeah.
whatever. So I don't think there's, I think it would be really difficult to build more. I mean, there's no reason not to preclude it though.
Okay, because like if you have ever been to San Francisco, you know you can build on anything.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
I
have
don't
it
think
washed
it's
down in your
too-
backyard, yeah.
So yeah, I think that's right. And
All right, well, there could be some covenants or something that could be.
yeah, I think it should definitely be restricted from.
Okay, so I just wanted, for those of you who have never looked at this is a standard form. And they filled this out, whereas the one for the Engage Kingston, they did it, it's different, but some of the questions are the same.
Right.
I think. Okay, so what I did was I went through and I I went through, and it's good to look at the answers that are yes and the answers that no, because maybe we think they should say yes. Okay? So I wanted to know this answer. So this is the ideas of what we could comment on.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't look at the open space plan. Is there anything in there that we could say, well, yeah, we think it, it is. And that's the kind of homework we would have to do.
Consistency with the open space.
And then I just thought it was interesting that Barman Park is the closest project site, but I guess that's
What
true.
even is that?
So Barman Park is at the,
South Clinton and Greenkill.
South Clinton Green. It's across from the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay. Wow.
And that makes sense.
That's a
Yeah.
long way. Yeah.
Yeah. But they will have their own recreational material or site.
Those were extremely minimal.
Yeah,
I mean, they,
charge
like
exclusive.
the equivalent of a couple of kids' playgrounds, sort of.
Mhm.
And depending on which plan that they were considering two plans, and one had a little bit more than the other.
Okay, so this is really good information where it says that 8 acres will be disturbed. Mostly it's going to be where the prison, the jail was. Okay, and I just want to stop for a minute because I just happened for another reason to be at the Ulster County Energy and Environment Committee on last Thursday. And that the biggest issue there, one of the big issues that they had to vote to take to the county, the full county legislature, is that the jail has not been demolished and the county has to do that. And they were voting to use $1.5 million of ARPA funds to demolish it. So people are upset about asbestos,
Yeah.
C&D trucks and all of that. And that is something that apparently the county has to do. So I'm just telling you that it hasn't been demolished. And so that's another step. But everyone wants this project because housing is so needed.
Sure.
All right, so I'm just going to skip through to the yellows
So
again.
have we gotten to transportation yet?
I know that, I don't know, I can look for it.
Sorry, I just wanted to make sure we didn't miss it, because that's my main concern.
Oh, yes, okay, there it is. We haven't gotten to it.
Okay, sorry, I
Okay.
just wanted to be sure.
So let me know if you're, I'm making you sick or anything, so.
You're doing good.
You taking it?
Okay. No, I don't know where I was, okay.
Sorry.
Oh, so we were at Barman Park.
Right.
Okay, so then, so this is the one, this is the impoundment one that everyone's really worried about. And it is a bio,
I don't think it's saying one structure. Isn't it like a lot of structures?
No, it's one continuous. Actually, no, it did look like more than one structure.
Isn't this the plan?
is that the one dated April 1st? Oh, because it's non-residential. Are you looking at G? It's because there's one non-residential building. And that is and I'm not sure, I think that's a
Oh,
community center.
non-residential, got it.
Non-residential,
Yeah, I was confused too. Thank you.
yeah.
Oh.
But if you look, it's all joined together anyway, isn't it? Or no, this is
No, I
this
think
is
it's-
parking, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
But someone did comment that it's probably not going to have any retail
Open
space.
space at all. It's all parking.
Yeah, there's a lot of.
Okay, I have to plug my computer in.
Yeah, mine's. All right.
So H is something that, that's a big concern because is there gonna be enough impoundment? And it's got,
What does impoundment mean?
it's what's behind a dam.
Oh,
So in other words,
okay, it's collection of water.
yes. Yeah, it's not a reservoir. So, I did not have any time, I just noted this one in case there's a wetland that no one has found or something.
I think it's a rocky hill, so that's.
It is very
Yeah.
rough. Yeah. So one thing is that our land, they're basically saying that this is, liquid waste, and liquid waste is sewers. And they're basically saying that the city of Kingston's sewer system can handle this. And one of the things that I would bring up is whether or not are there sanitary sewers or the combined sewers, and therefore with this, is the stormwater, any runoff that's going into the sewer system gonna impact? So that's a question that we would have to look into.
Mhm.
Anyway, basically, our wastewater treatment plant is gonna be underwater. So I don't know if we want to say that.
Right, that's a good point.
So this is the impervious surfaces,
Yeah.
and they are not gonna use any pervious material. So it says, first of all, it says, will stormwater runoff flow to adjacent properties? Yes. And they are not they're not planning on putting any pervious materials. Yeah, so that's something we could comment on, and I didn't look through it enough to know why they made that decision.
Well, what does on-site stormwater management facility / structure mean? And if there is an on-site stormwater management facility / structure, why is stormwater runoff flowing to adjacent properties?
Apparently, there's some sort of existing retention. I don't know if it's a pond or something underground that they want to use.
Oh, it's surface, yeah. And
Surface,
that's why
several.
we need to look through the plan, because because I thought I read somewhere where that some of the stuff would go into the existing sewer system.
Also, isn't there a regulation that says if something is of a certain acreage, then they need to have a stormwater pollution prevention plan that prohibits water from flowing off the property?
But is that for construction, or is that for post-construction? I don't know, that's a really good question. Let's write that down. And, I'm assuming that, and by the way, John Schultes did comment on the stormwater plan. It's 284 pages. So that, so we could always say, well, we want to know these answers, but we didn't have time to look them up or something. Anything more on that? So this was my way of looking through this. Cool. Okay, so here's the transportation.
Right. So my main concern is you're putting a large number of elderly people up on a steep hill, and there's no plan to provide public transport.
I know, and it's really weird because the UCAT office is right there, and the buses go up there anyway, don't
Right.
they?
I don't know.
But yes.
I think I read something today in my looking over these documents that they responded to a comment saying that they are working on with the county to have a bus stop there. But I don't know how recent.
Great, because at the public meeting 3 months ago, whatever it was, that didn't seem to be definite.
I'll try to find it. I'll look around.
Yeah, because numbers, Roman numeral 6 says it's within a half a mile, and yes, that's true,
Well,
but
but half a mile down a steep hill
Yes.
is not gonna work.
I would also ask, for number 7. It's interesting to me that actually those are lumped together, because I think they should
Yeah.
be articulated separately, but whatever, that's a function of seeker, but are they saying yes to public transportation, or are they saying yes to accommodations for use of hybrid electric and alternative fuel vehicles? More importantly, they could be saying yes because accommodating hybrid electric or other alternative fuel vehicles could literally just mean, yes, an electric vehicle can park in a spot.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Charging
In other words, they're
stations,
not
yeah.
saying no electric vehicles allowed on the property. That is a loophole.
Yeah.
are they talking about any charging stations?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Do they mean,
I mean, with the state moving so aggressively toward going totally electric,
Yeah.
they
yeah,
need to be thinking about that.
that one is major loophole-ish to me, so I think that one should be articulated better.
And I believe at the meeting that somebody did raise the issue of charging stations, and there was no positive response to that. My main concern at the meeting was just that they hadn't thought about how people, particularly elderly people, were going to get on and off this hill.
Are they going to discontinue the red bus? Is that what they're proposing? I didn't see that, but I wasn't at that meeting either.
I don't know.
The red bus goes to Golden Hill presently.
So that's a good question.
But how many times a day?
Gee, let me see here. I got the red bus open right here. One,
Kevin, you're
2,
amazing.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and that's only up to 3:47 PM. I guess that's the last one. It's 3:47 PM.
I mean, it's not a big, that's a good point. The thing is we
Once
could,
an hour or less.
you know, this building could be in service for 50 years and we don't know what's happening for that, so it's really hard to, you know, if we know that the bus system is being eliminated or something, we need to say that. But hopefully there'll be, I don't know, some other solution later on.
So, Emily, the loophole is just that they would accommodate hybrid
Yes.
electric, sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Does anyone know how they're getting how they're heating this place? Generate, this is industrial anyway, but they don't say there's any air emissions.
That's interesting. I certainly didn't see any plans for solar panels,
No.
which would be the obvious.
Oh, okay, let's read that.
well, heating should be primarily electric.
Yeah,
Because they're gonna try and stop the use of gas
Mhm.
and other fuels. The state, I'm saying now,
Yeah,
maybe within the next 7 years.
the country as well.
So no gas. Are they gonna be using mini splits or something like that?
Yeah, we need to look at that. But because they said there were no air emissions, that's why I was thinking they were using electricity.
Okay,
But that's why we need to double check. Okay, how are we doing for time? So this one, I don't know what the standards for lighting levels are, but my concern is always that the light points down. And that there could be some times where the lights aren't even on, if there's a, motion sensitive or something. Because you don't need to light up the sky. So has anyone ever looked at the lighting level standards?
No.
I mean, we have a street lighting LED policy, but this is a parking lot.
Right.
But I'm hesitant that they don't even use the words LED in that sentence.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard not to buy LED now, but
But I wouldn't make any assumptions.
yeah, okay.
It references, have you read the project narrative at all?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean I comprehend.
Okay, Golden Hill Development will also embrace Ulster County's Green New Deal, which promotes sustainable design, renewable energy and green building practices.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so they want to put vinyl siding on, so. Okay, so here's the rest. This is forest, residential, and other. It does have good, so this is what's changing. There's going to be 2 acres of, almost 3 acres of forested land cut down. And there's just a little bit of acreage more in impervious surfaces. And I guess there's going to be more lawn.
Wait, hold on.
Sorry.
So here they're saying there will be 2.94 fewer acres of forest,
Yeah.
but up further up, it says minimal trees will be removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was, yes, because that was for
Sound.
sound.
Yes, but
During
all trees
construction.
are for sound.
Tree removal.
There, right there.
Yeah.
I think that is an inaccurate statement.
Okay, so the reason okay, because I read it as during construction. No. During construction. Oh, operation or both. You were right. Okay. So this is about using trees as a sound barrier. And I don't.
But to state tree removal will be minimal and then a page later say we're gonna
Yeah.
get rid of 3 acres of forest.
3 acres. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Julie.
Yeah.
Good catch.
And if you look at one of the maps, they show kind of a drawing of the new site and it definitely cuts into the trees on the border. Okay.
Okay. There's that.
Oh my gosh. Are you all right? All right, I'm gonna just move ahead so we can decide what to do. So there's that again. I just said, this is interesting because they actually look at the spills incident database and whether or not there were some spills or anything, so that's why they answered this. And then, and this is that information. And then this is the natural resources. And so it's very close to bedrock. There's actual bedrock outcroppings on this site, and it's pretty steep slope. 45% is 15% or greater. And it said, so there are wetlands adjoining the site. So I'm not sure what they're calling that bioretention pond. I mean, there definitely is a water body in the area of photography nearby, but I didn't look anyway. And then this, I thought we could beef this list up.
The funniest list I've ever seen. Oh my gosh. Sorry.
It's like all the animals that they've spotted on the site since they've seen it. I have a quick question with like the goal of doing this. Is it to ask them to, if we find issues with this, to submit a revised EAF? Or are we arguing, or is this to say that there is more of an environmental impact, or is that like TBD after we do this?
Well, I think that I don't think they've declared whether or not this is a negative impact or not. So I think when we submit this, we should say we think this should have a positive declaration.
And I think the purpose of this is to have accuracy in the process. And then when the accuracy is then present, then
And then we can assess.
those that are making the decision about negative or positive declaration would have all the full information based on this new data that we would be requesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it is not in a critical environmental area.
What are they saying is agricultural?
They're saying that they're really highly productive soils, and that's somewhere else listed. So that,
Okay,
and that's based on the definition of the soils that they found.
okay.
Okay,
So then they are missing that piece of
Acreage,
information,
yeah.
B1, BI.
oh, okay.
Yeah. And what acreage?
Yeah, that's.
I know, it's kind of weird because I don't really,
Well, they've got to be agricultural lands. So is there any place where there's agriculture going on up there? I mean, so much of it is steep hillside,
that's why I
Isn't
don't understand.
agricultural lands.
Yeah, but the point of this is that the term highly productive soils is literally based on a designation of the soil type, which is not subjective. It's a type of soil.
I understand that.
Okay. So
These are the soils.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it matters whether or not they're covered by forest.
Okay,
So you
All
can
right.
go to the Ulster County soil map and find these.
okay.
Yeah, I see some hydric soils near something, near to the site, yeah, very close.
So I don't know enough about this to answer anymore, but it's not about working farms or anything like that.
Okay. Well, even the possibility of having any kind of
Right,
gardens, maybe, I
yeah.
suppose. Okay,
No, are they putting?
It's a prime and important soil. There's some prime and important soils there. That might be what's triggering that.
okay.
And that
I
seems to
understand.
be almost identical to the hydric soils. The two seem to overlay each other.
But I mean, it does raise the question of whether there's going to be an option for people to grow vegetables or.
Yeah. That can be raised.
Didn't they include some area for gardening?
I didn't
map.
see one, is there?
I mean, it's been a while since I heard that presentation, so,
You need to look into that then.
That would be on the rec map. I'm not seeing, no, I don't know.
okay.
Picnic area, no.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, like I said, it was like a kid's park
Yeah,
size.
yeah,
okay.
playground, picnic areas and playgrounds.
No, that's too bad. So there's no community garden or anything?
No, which I think is a real shame. Because
Yeah,
else are you gonna do when you retire? Grow prize-winning vegetables.
Join the CAC. And so I wanted, so the moving ahead, this, we need to look at F and H together. Well, we can look at G because I have no idea, but anyway, it says, I'm sorry,
Is this
No,
not
I
say
think it's
community
E.
garden on it? I can't zoom in. I can see the word community.
Let me see, and I'll try to.
oh, I typed this in, okay. So it says, if you look at H, the question is a project site within 5 miles in an officially designated or publicly accessible scenic or aesthetic resource? Well, the Hudson,
It looks like community.
and so the Hudson River is a scenic resource, but then they also ask that question, whether it's in the corridor of it. But the only thing they put in as an answer for H is the Walk Hill Valley Rail Trail and the New York State Empire State Trail. So is there any, I mean, I would think that we're within 5 miles of Hudson River, so that should be listed besides the Walk Hill, it's not that important, but,
Well, they're also gonna be within 5 miles of a state park.
ooh, let's put that in. Yeah. Thank you. Okay, so that was that, and then so this is the site. This is a book that where they got their data, additional information. And then this is where we should be listed. The CAC should be listed. And then this just shows the bedrooms. These are the bedrooms. And this is about the traffic, I think. And this is all this other information about tanks and so on. All right,
okay.
so I wanted to, anyway, so that's what I did. Oops. That's what I did, and I guess we need to decide if that's the kind of thing other people were thinking of, just to comment on that, because again, there's 4 things we could comment on. The one is the subdivision, the secret, which this is what that is, the site plan, which is, a huge thing. And then the other one is the special use permit, and it's my understanding, but I'm not certain that I'm completely understand this, is that the special use is because it's right now it's residential, and they want to go to office. It's single family residential, and they want to go to office, and then I guess sometimes you have to get a special use permit, a special permit for the use that's in that zone. I don't know. You can check it out.
Yeah, they can't do it as of right without changing the zoning.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
but then if they're gonna change the zoning anyway, why do they need a permit? A special use permit?
I think we'd have to go into the regulations for the O2 district and see if
Oh,
multiple family housing requires a special permit.
Okay, so
May,
that's.
very
fine.
well might. I
Is-
have to go into section 405 and, scroll through that to figure that one out.
Because my point being is that I didn't think we necessarily needed to comment on that. And so the things that we would want to comment on is why is it being subdivided? And even if it is because it's steep slopes, we could have that answered. The second thing is everything that we just went over in the EAF. And then the site plan is like a huge thing. Because the site plan shows where the water goes and I, by the way, I forgot, I must have scrolled through, but the two endangered species are the bats and the bald eagle.
Right.
And I didn't know if there was any others. All right. So it's almost 8. So what's the next steps? And do we have a guest?
No.
Okay. So should we just should we ask for an extension but then we would have to agree that we can work next week on it or something?
Hmm.
Before, did anyone say they wanted to work on it this week, or are those the two options? Besides me saying that I can't.
Well-
I also can't work this weekend.
Yeah.
Well, the planning board's meeting next week, right? The 18th. So the question is, do you want to get this in so they have it by the 18th or not?
Yeah, I mean, right now the deadline is Friday at 3:00, not Monday.
Right. But no, I understand that. But if you were asking for an extension, are you just asking for an extension till Monday at 3:00 so they can have this, or Monday at noon or something? Or are you looking at down the road?
Yeah, a week later. A week later because it's Easter on Sunday. So,
Okay, so this wouldn't be available for the planning board to consider at the next meeting. Okay, that's where I'm going. Yeah.
unless I just did it and sent it in, if no one else can work on it this week.
Okay,
If I'm gonna give you some help, you need to give me some direction.
Right, right, and I agree. I am very big for time, like I can work on this Friday morning, so,
Well,
yeah.
Well, I've got some time tomorrow and some time on Thursday. Point me in the right direction by email or something.
So do you think we should just try to get something in by Monday? Because if we do something by Monday, I could also work on it, not that I want to, but. And I don't, because Kevin, you feel uncomfortable if we send stuff in without, and, do you have time to look at it?
I can look at it. I'm not sure I have time to prepare it, though.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah, once I see, I mean, once I see where you're going, I can just go back in and look at the documents, double check it, and then say, yeah, good to roll.
all right, so let's try to get something in by Monday on the EAF at least. Because
Okay.
there's, and I mean, I think we could just say that we think that the runoff should stay on the property and be collected in stormwater management systems. Or something like that without going beyond that, because we don't really know. When we're, and not to go, and a simple question would be find out if they're combined sewers, because if they're combined sewers, then there's more runoff, or there could be more runoff going into the combined sewers. Does anyone want that explained to them? So, okay. All right. Okay, so do you want to have a resolution on that or something?
Yeah, we're making a motion to extend, to request that the planning department accept our comments by sometime on Monday.
That we would work on it and that we would delegate it to the committee. And the committee would try to get the comments in by Monday, you know, at noon or something.
Okay.
So similar to
Yeah,
what we did for the other one. And I'm sorry for going over this because it's almost 8 o'clock.
So. Conclusion.
All right, so is there a s- in a second?
yeah, okay, just seconding it, Helen?
Yeah, I will second.
Okay,
I'm sorry, I don't have time to join.
Yeah. Okay.
so we're delegating the comments to a committee to finalize the comments, right?
Yeah.
And then requesting an extension from planning until Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
So are people around on Monday to look at anything? Or
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Sunday night?
Will do. Yes, I can do that.
No.
I won't be back from Easter
Okay.
until Monday afternoon,
What about you, Ted?
but I can do some stuff in the next 2 days.
Okay, I'll try to get some.
I'm not sure, honestly.
Okay,
I mean, if you send it, I'll try to look at it, but I can't commit to it.
okay. All right, so moving forward, I'm gonna assume we don't have anything on F or G. East Strand and Hurley Avenue. So wait, do we have to vote? I'm sorry.
Yes, yeah, we have a
gonna
motion on the floor.
Say
Aye, any nays? No. Abstentions? Okay, then we're all good.
All right, so everyone stand up and stretch.
I'll lose the minute if I do.
There is not a water fountain, there is a water,
The restroom is.
The rest, oh, right.
no, there's a water.
That's a bit of a tough
All the
request.
way to the bottom, all the way to the bottom, where in the middle of the building where the copy room is.
Okay. Okay, is there anything on F or G? East Strand or Hurley?
Nothing new. Planning board is silent.
Okay,
I could follow up with the county on Hurley Avenue, but so far nothing.
if you go through the council chambers and go right, there's a restroom.
Okay, I'm fine, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so the Climate Action Council draft scoping plan. First of all, we've talked about doing this. The deadline got extended. It's June 2nd. And I know Anita said she was interested in working on this and she's done a little homework. So I just want an agreement that we think it's important to submit some comments on the draft scoping plan. They're doing a lot of outreach. But is this something the CAC would like to do? Oh, and Anita's not there. There she is. Okay. Yes or no? Or are we going to be too busy doing other things? Does anyone want it explained to them?
Yes.
Okay. So the state passed this really amazing community
leadership and climate leadership and community protection act that said that we're going to drastically reduce our emissions by 2030 and 2050. And there's many things that have to happen to get there. And there's many different sections of that. And the scoping plan, so out of that, the New York State Climate Action Council met over 2 years to kind of figure out how to enact it, to actually implement the act.
Right.
And they've come up with a draft scoping plan that is only 287 pages, not counting the appendices. And they really want to comment on them. And there's a lot of information about how to reduce emissions, but there are sections on forests, open space, and some other ones that are kind of more of our scope, like, and right now there's a huge amount of, I wouldn't say huge, but there is an effort to kind of educate people about this. For instance, the New York State Association of Conservation Councils had someone from the climate office address this in a webinar and so on.
I mean, do you think that, because it feels to me like we've got quite a lot of climate and emissions organisations locally that will be weighing in on this? So I'm genuinely.
Yeah, and by the way, there's also a big, huge section on waste, and and I could.
I mean, I suppose
and
the
I'm
question
involved
is, do
in
we think
groups.
other people might have got this, or do we?
If you want, I can send everybody a condensation of my notes from the public webinar. I found some of it extremely interesting.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it is really amazing, and you can do that if you want. What I did here was, can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay, I just pasted the table of contents in. And I highlight, so the chapters are in dark bold, and then the subchapters are below it. And the ones that I thought if the CAC wanted to do, they could look at this one. And the reason I'm saying ag and forestry is because it has forests in it.
Yeah.
And then waste potentially, though we never do any work on waste. And then land use and adaptation and resilience. Is the Climate Smart doing that? Anything? No, okay. Because there's huge other things that are in here that I didn't feel was our auspices.
Right.
So it sounds to me like if Anita and I are interested and we are willing to take it on, we could do it, but we may not be getting anyone else jumping up to work on it. And Anita would have to agree that these are things that she's interested in.
Well, do we want to delegate you to do it?
What do you want us to do again?
We don't, you could just say, I mean, we can decide if we can do it and then we can bring it in, and if we don't get it done, then, but if you
Okay.
delegate it, then would we have to do it?
When's the deadline?
June 2nd.
Oh, we have an extra month. I thought it was a 120-day comment period.
They extended it.
Ah, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, then we don't have to make a decision right now.
Well, it's a lot of reading and stuff. Yeah, but it does give us, I mean, we could be very busy with Engage Kingston or Kingston Forward, Golden Hill, and the preservation stuff. So.
Emily, if you and I went through this and picked out some of the critical ones we should be looking at,
Mhm.
I'd be willing to sit down and read through it.
Okay, I did that. Chapter 19, 21, and maybe 15.
Chapter
Would it be
15,
helpful?
19,
Go
and
ahead.
21.
Yeah,
Okay,
Would it be helpful to do research on what other people are commenting? Like maybe there's kind of ideas out there already that we can reinforce.
The only one I'm familiar, yeah, we could do, that's a great idea. The one that I heard from today, there was one on waste with Judith Hank. But I haven't heard any of these on land use, so we'd have to find out. Yes, that would be a great idea.
I could,
Does anyone
I
know if
could-
the land use organizations are doing anything?
I can do a little research and see, especially with BARD, CEP, maybe some of the faculty know more.
Okay.
okay.
Also, I just want to say regarding this, that Kingston citizens about a month ago put out a petition because they're holding 10 public hearings across New York State, but they skipped the Mid-Hudson region. So even though there are virtual ones. So I'll share that petition with you all if you're interested in advocating for a more local public hearing.
Yeah, the closest one was in Albany.
Yeah, the closest.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely an issue. Okay, so let's leave it that Anita and I will look into this, and if we can provide comments, then we would get it to you hopefully by, the problem is we'll have to do the same kind of thing, because the next meeting is May, whatever, and we'd still have like 3 weeks to work on it. Okay. Excuse me. Anyway, okay, great. So moving on. Okay, the Senate Bill Extended Producer Responsibility Act. So this is kind of named, anyway, I just want to say that NIPERG and Beyond Plastics really lobbied to make sure that the Extended Producer Responsibility Act that was in the budget, not to get into the final budget. And it was not put into the final budget. So it seems like, well, why did we do that? And the reason is because, one, the reason they didn't want it in the budget was because they felt like it was more of a policy thing and not a budget thing. And then they didn't think it was it was what they were at good, what was in the bill and would have gone into the budget and so on wasn't as good as it could be. And including that there needed to be more, targets and that they should not be, the industry should not be setting their own targets and their own dates. So so the next thing for that is to look at the Engelbright bill that would beef up the Extended Producer Responsibility Act. And they're also still trying to get the Better Bigger Bottle bill passed. And the main things about the Better Bigger Bottle bill are 10 cents instead of 5. It's been 5 cents for decades. And it would extend it to the teas and the sports drinks and so on. So more on that. Okay, God, I feel like I'm talking all the time. Okay.
Doing great. You're doing great.
New York, New Jersey Watershed Protection Act. There is not a deadline on this, so I think we can wait and bring you a letter next time. But basically, Congressman Tonko, who is out near the Capitol District, he decided that there wasn't any funding for the watershed like there is in there was no federal funding like there is for other ones like the Chesapeake and the Long Island Sound and so on, so that he has a bill before Congress, I guess, to bring money through the Department of Interior, through the Fish and Wildlife Service, that would coordinate grants to go to people or to organizations in the Hudson, not in the Hudson Valley, in all the watersheds that flow into New York, New Jersey harbor. So that includes all of the Adirondacks, all of the Mohawk watershed, all of the Hudson watershed, and the Bronx River and a bunch of rivers in New Jersey. So anyway, the mayor has already written a letter, the EMC is looking into it, the Scenic Hudson is doing the kind of the organizing to get people, Scenic Hudson and Riverkeeper are getting people to send a resolution or sign a letter. So there's two things we can do. We could just send a letter of support, or we could ask the Common Council to do a resolution. If we were going to do the Common Council do a resolution, then we need to do that tonight. And this would bring money, I forget the amount, 50 million for like 5 years. And it would work through existing organizations like the Hudson River Estuary Program, but it would be federal money. And the mayor already sent a letter, so. So that's it in a nutshell. We want to, so for, we occasionally do ask the Common Council to pass a resolution. It's just in support of it. And that would mean that we would have to get the resolution ready, and then Ted could present it.
Sounds good.
So I need either consensus or.
Do you need somebody to propose it?
Yeah.
Okay, I propose that we send a resolution to the Common Council
Okay,
regarding this funding.
all right. Has anyone heard whether or not anyone else is, or Alderman has already taken this up?
I haven't heard.
Okay. All
I'll
right.
second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, they said that the woman at Scenic Hudson said that she would be happy to have this kind of go for a couple months, but it would be June probably till it went in front of the Common Council anyway, if we do that now. So the only thing is whether or not we don't like the resolution that they gave us, and that we need to change the wording.
So
So
you need to vote.
we need to vote. Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and these projects could be anything from green infrastructure way up in the headwaters to shoreline stabilization.
Great.
Greens shoreline stabilization along the coast. Okay. So what's the deadline for that? To get it to the,
You would need to get it to the council by April 29th at 11.
okay, and who does it go to?
Elisa Tenti.
Okay, and is that for the public safety?
That would go to, well, you would have to suggest who you wanted to go to.
Oh, okay. All right. All right,
So if it does go through public safety, basically Scenic Hudson is preparing the draft resolution. We're looking at it, and then I'm presenting it to public safety.
Scenic Hudson is just kind of getting everyone to do this so that they can have a big, long list of everyone who's supporting it. So once the resolution got passed, it would, they would have a copy so they could say, yes, but we as a CAC can modify the resolution. The resolution's already, there's a template resolution. So we
Okay.
can put whatever we want in, like,
So we're just filling in the blanks on the template and submitting it to Elisa for the common council approval.
yeah.
Okay, let me,
And then we could send our own letter too, and we could add that in May. We could do that in May. But if we get the common council to do it, we don't need to do it. And the mayor
Okay.
has done it, so we could just forget it and say the mayor did it, but we're gonna go home with the resolution. Okay, is there anything in open discussions or can we skip that?
I'm happy to skip it.
Okay, communication.
I have a quick thing, sorry. Just thinking about that petition that I just shared with everyone, to have a public hearing in the Mid-Hudson region. There's a spot at the bottom where you can submit it on behalf of an organization. So would we feel comfortable as a CAC advocating for that, or should we do it as individuals? And do we need a resolution if we do that?
Did you share this in the chat, Ted?
Yeah, I don't see it.
I don't see
Send
it.
an email.
I shared it by email, but also,
Oh.
we have time, so we could review it and look at it next month.
And I will say that the mayor has also already signed a petition on behalf of the city
Okay,
advocating for this.
I did just add it to the chat too. Because it's going to the state CAC.
It is?
What's going to the state CAC?
It's going to the New York State Association of Conservation Councils?
The New York State Climate Action Council.
Oh, that's CAC, right, now it's so confusing.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
What do people feel like?
I just feel personally that, maybe it doesn't make a big deal and maybe the average person around here wouldn't attend a public hearing and review this giant document, but by us advocating for more community engagement, we're kind of just representing our region. I feel like it's an easy, simple way for us to do that. So I would support it.
So it looks like I would sign it and say that I'm authorized to do it.
And we can sign as individuals as well.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. Is there any reason why we shouldn't do it as a municipal entity?
No, I think it's a great idea.
yeah.
All right. Because they're all starting very soon, these public hearings. I can't remember when, but. Okay, so someone has to decide that it's a good idea for us to do this, so we'll do it, but anyway. We need a motion.
I make a motion that we sign on to this petition as CAC.
All right, any seconds?
Sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Cool. Thanks, everyone.
And I'll make an effort to go to the public hearing if they
Oh,
have.
good for you. Yeah, that's great. Okay,
Yeah, so this same one that, this petition that you're circling is the same one that I personally signed it like a month ago, and the mayor signed it on behalf of the city like a month ago.
okay.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Ted.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Next on the agenda is communications, and I'm gonna talk, Julie's gonna talk about that.
Okay, so, the city is applying for a second time for, a grant application, which is called RAISE, which used to be called something else. Or that was something else, but either way, it is a rebuilding American infrastructure with sustainability and equity application, for weaving the waterfront. Basically, it's a $20 million application, that is going to be used to construct active transportation infrastructure, EV charging stations, and flood resilience measures throughout the city's Hudson River and the Rondo Creek watershed area. So the $20 million is broken up into phases, that basically start at the 9W bridge and include bulkhead stabilization along the Rondo, elevating the road along East Strand, a promenade along the Strand, stabilization out along Kingston Point, connection between Kingston Point and Kingston Point, between Kingston Point Park and Kingston Point Beach area, elevating Delaware Avenue on the lower part along Kingston Point, creating a walkway along there to connect people to the Kingston Empire State Trail, and then connections along the Empire State Trail going up to the north. So this is being done by Ruth Ann, who's the grant project manager. She's looking for a letter of support from anyone who would give a letter of support. There's a couple of weeks ago, Senator Schumer came to Kingston and did a press conference on the waterfront and expressed his support and his commitment to advocating for Kingston to be receiving this funding. And the last time he did that in a community, the community that he advocated for won it. So thinking that that's good, but basically Ruth Ann gave us a draft letter of support, which I circulated. It basically says it will provide vital pedestrian, bicycle, and vehicle connections through the historic area, infrastructure to promote the use of carbon-free vehicles, but also enable people to commute and recreate without the need for cars, elevate key portions of the roadway to allow residents to move more safely during flood events, and so on and so on. So she is looking to see if the CAC will be interested in signing on to this letter of support.
Yeah, so you did get the letter, and I have mixed feelings about this because in some ways we should be thinking about retreating. And we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Because we're putting a lot of money into something, and it would, but, you know, whether or not it's the flooding of Delaware or the flooding of East Strand, the stabilization is, you know, it's only going to be good until the water goes over the stabilization thing, but the top of the stabilization bulkhead. Or not bulkhead, stabilization. But I'm okay to support it if other people are interested. So here, that's not it. Trying to find the letter for you guys.
You just had it.
No, that was an article by Schumer.
Oh,
That was the newspaper article by Schumer, from Schumer. Oh, and what's the deadline? Because I know we're doing it because,
She needs, I think she's submitting it by the 15th.
which is Friday.
Yeah.
I will just say that I think I hear you, Emily, but I also think that if these projects come to fruition, there will be opportunities to provide input about, like, I think kind of future planning and making sure that things are resilient as possible. I just have like a lot of background on when I was at the land trust, I was on some project advisory committees for the designing of these things. And I know that a lot of it was like very forward thinking, like ideas, like places that could be flooded and things like a floating boardwalk, things like that. So I think there's like an interesting opportunity to like talk about climate resiliency and like how the Rondout is going to evolve in the next 100 years. So, and yeah, it's better than not supporting it and I guess kind of just letting the chips land where they fall, I think.
If we get to write it to Pete Buttigieg, oh my gosh.
I keep asking him for an interview. He doesn't get back to me.
I guess I feel somewhat the same way that Ted does. That this is an opportunity we should pursue.
And we haven't gotten it in the past, that's correct?
Right.
Right.
Okay.
You
All
know,
right.
if you don't, where's the money gonna come from?
Yeah.
You know, and what's gonna happen? You just, I mean, it sounds like, I saw a lot of pictures of Rob Iannucci in that Freeman article, you know? I don't know, we throwing him overboard, literally? I don't know. I would say to support this, you know.
Okay, so all I need to do is sign it and give it to who?
Give it, well, he's got to go on our
All right,
letterhead.
so we need a motion and a vote, and then we'll talk about the.
I move that we send this letter in support of this.
Okay, second. Go, I can't second, I don't think so.
No.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor?
I
Okay,
You can send it right to Ruth Ann.
okay.
and to Pete Buttigieg.
Make Ruth answer.
To Ruth Ann, yeah, she'll send it to
Just don't expect a response.
Okay. Are there any other communications besides that?
Not that I received.
I just want to note that we did get, we're not talking about this, but Ted sent us the public comment letter about the Franklin Street project from Kristen Wilson sometime earlier. And
Oh,
so that was a good communication.
right,
Yeah, oh, we haven't, this is not on the list,
okay,
and everyone's getting tired unless you.
no, that's fine, I'll make sure I look at that, I think I missed that somewhere.
Okay, yeah, and I put it in the Google Drive.
Thank you.
Okay, so there's a lot of events happening. First of all, there's Earth Day. Second of all, that I have is there's Seeing the City for the Trees, an urban tree canopy webinar on April 28th, and that's with Andy Reinman, and he did some work for us on our heat island. And so it might be interesting, good for the tree commission to attend. And that is through the Hudson River Estuary Program. Oh, and then May 5th is May 5th is another webinar on the draft, on the climate leadership draft scoping plan. So I sent that stuff out again, and I sent that out, but and you do have to register for those. So those are the ones I know. Okay. Oops. Any other announcements that you know of?
The tree commission has went out and pounded the sidewalk for a while, and they've got a bunch more applications for their tree planting program. So
Okay.
that was positive.
That's great. That's great. And the only other, don't forget again that there's some other, we've already talked about the SECRA on April 21st for that. Okay, good. So we got that up. So going on to updates and reports, complete streets.
Next meeting is May 11th. We haven't met for 3 months. I was in conversation with Greg Crew specifically about Franklin Street and the trees, and I made some inquiries about how they were prioritizing trees in the project, and they're going to get back to me. But basically, he sent me a long email saying that the trees have been planted with poor consideration as to where the cables were strung, and I was like, no, that's the wrong way around. But it does sound like they're actually making an effort to tidy up the cables at least and have more consideration for tree there. It's an ongoing thing, so I'll see what happens at the May 11th meeting.
And the tree commission weighed in on the Franklin Street project, I believe,
Yeah.
on the tree types and stuff. So I just wanted to say that the Complete Streets or Bike Friendly Kingston might be a place, Ted, for your people that were interested in bollards along the Broadway.
Okay.
Or maybe, and maybe there's some here too, but.
Yeah, I was feeling like there might be a more appropriate
Yeah.
place. I just wanted, that was what was going on that day, so I wanted to share it with you all.
Right, and do they know about the app for the bike and pedestrian plan? Because that's-
This
they-
group of people definitely does, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, the planning board, planning board.
I think we covered Golden Hill. I see Kingstonian is back for a site plan review again and special permit. I don't know if there's anything to review on that, but that's what for Bonar, and I think that's all planning board stuff. They already did the neg deck, so that's sort of what's there to discuss.
All right,
Nothing further that I saw that looked at, just, usual stuff on, site plan, these minor reviews that they were doing.
okay. Public safety? You didn't go.
And I meant to just check in on their meeting, but I haven't had a chance.
Okay,
And Michelle's not here today either, but I am going to, at some point in the next month, meet up with Michelle, and I might update her more on what we're up to.
okay. Great. Climate Smart Kingston.
Oh, I gotta pull the minutes up for that. Just sent them out to Julie today. So let me find it where I did with it. There it is. Climate Smart Kingston, March 23rd. That was the date of the meeting. And let's see, we covered, we didn't do much on refrigerants this go round. CFA was discussed. Julie did the usual thing where, that she does at every meeting, discussing the community preservation plan, this time under city sustainability projects. I think we've covered that here, so I don't think we have to go over that again. Melissa Ayasheta announced a rummage sale event to be held on April 22nd to 24th with respect to a fundraising for a coordinator for a paid coordinator for Repair Cafe through Sustainable Hudson Valley. So that is a thing that's happening.
That is at the Methodist Church.
Yeah, I believe it is.
It
Yes.
is definitely,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it's up the hill from the bus station, kind of on the corner. I can't remember. It's on the corner.
Yeah.
If you want to go, 3 days, Earth Day weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. When's
Right.
that? Friday, Earth Day is the 22nd, so it's around that. Okay. Anything else? Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, there is. Melissa also reported on Bike Friendly Kingston and the solar cohort, which she's been tracking on. That's the Scenic Hudson solar mapping tool. And let's see, there was a discussion about flyers regarding that. I think we can kind of, oh yeah, and I think Julie had mentioned funding from New York State Parks and Recreation, zoos, botanical gardens, and aquariums. I don't know, if Julie, if you're there, do you want to expand on that at all?
The environmental education programs that we operate through the city have been funded for 8 years or so under this ZBGA grant, and we got 5 more years of funding for environmental.
Yay. Well,
Yay.
Okay. Under, let's see, the next thing was Mike Darcy. Well, he's at the county, presently, and he may be coming to the next meeting. And I believe he's going to discuss block power, which was a connection that came through Suncommon. It's an organization from New York City that does green jobs training, and they're considering engaging Kingston. So I think Betta and Cal and Mike are going to all circle together, and suppose we'll hear from them at the next meeting as to what, for an update.
What's the name of the company?
It's the name of the company is Block Power.
Oh, BLOC.
BLOC, no K in it, BLOC. I think if you just do a search for Block Power with a C, yeah, but www.blockpower.io. Not .com, .io. That was the reference I had for it.
Okay, thank you.
Zoning, we've covered zoning already. CCA, I think we did cover some of the CCA here. Julie discussed a FEMA grant for a backup generator at the Murphy Center. Cal discussed various technical aspects of backup power and battery energy, which we don't need to go into right now. And that did get very technical. And we're talking about UL 950 battery backups and how they work. And coordinating that with NYSERDA. Ellie provided a review of the LED streetlight and traffic signal report. That may have gotten a little technical too, but she, gave a good presentation on it. The Earth Fair, okay, May 14th, Forsyth Park. Cal's been working on that, getting brochures and stuff organized, which we're going to review, I believe. We're reviewing those now. He sent them out. And then at the end of the meeting, let's see, we sort of lost Roberto during his presentation on the Ulster County Climate Smart Committee. So I don't really have an update from Roberto on that. We'd have to go back to the website to figure that one out. In the meantime, though, the Ulster County tabling at the Ulster County Fair in August was discussed at Climate Smart Kingston. So I think that covers us for the moment
All right.
for
Thank you
that.
so much. I wanted to let you know that in the scoping plan for the Climate Action Council,
Mhm.
refrigerants are under waste. So if anyone is personally interested in the refrigerants, I believe is covered under waste.
Okay.
And I also want to say, because I was a former Climate Smart person, that these are the new storm windows that we got.
Oh, wow.
And I haven't been here to see them in 2 years. So I want to point them out.
Presumably they keep heating as well.
Yeah, and we got them for the whole building. It was,
That's great.
yeah. There we go.
Oh,
Oh,
you're,
sorry.
You're out of focus.
Anyway, interior storms for the
That's such a
historic
great idea.
building.
Hmm,
All right.
yeah,
Okay, so for the Environmental Management Council, we had a speaker from Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, and they talked mostly about their composting, how their composting is working, and how they do it, and the type of food they're taking in, and they are expanding it. They're going to get they're going to change their permit to take more in, and you can see the piles if you go across the Rhine Cliff Bridge. And then for more personal information from the Ulster County Resource Recovery Agency, there are household hazardous waste days. The next one, there's one in June that's in Kingston. The first one is in New Paltz. They are also having days where they're giving out compost bins, rain barrels, and like food waste, small food waste containers. So and they've also started up their electronics collection on Saturday now. So these are all just kind of, you might want to know for your own information.
Where's the electronics thing?
It's at, so the Resource Recovery Agency is near the entrance to the Rhine Cliff Bridge.
Near the airport.
Before that, right before the entrance, yeah. So they are doing electronics. I mean, the city of Kingston has
They do,
electronics
yeah,
also,
sure.
so it's probably closer there. And I also, the gardener is also doing a community preservation plan in terms of the stuff that the agency is doing in Sardi's. Seems to be very happy with their CCA, as I said before. And the BARD students are giving a talk at our next EMC meeting, but I don't know which BARD students. I think they're working with, are some of the BARD students working with one of the county projects or something? Anyway, so the next meeting is the 5th Wednesday in May. And it might be in person. It is going to be in person. So. Okay, anything more from the tree commission, Anita?
No, I mean, that was the only really interesting thing.
Just
A lot of discussion about which species and Franklin Street trees and a couple of other damaged trees, but.
All right. Okay, and I just wanted to acknowledge, so thank you. I want to acknowledge Sebastian's attendance or participation in the CAC. He never re-upped. And I do want to mention that if you look at this list, there's 4 more spaces. So keep that in mind if you have anyone else who might want to join our merry little group here. Especially if they know how to cook brownies.
With weed.
So we, anyway, just remember, we are looking for more members, and any kind of treat would be good.
Excellent, I'll keep that.
Because, so, no. All right, thank you for spending so much time with us this evening. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second.
All right, all in favor? All right,
Aye.
so it's 8:42.
Sorry I was late, guys.
Oh, no.
That's okay. And
That's. Yeah. Okay, good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night,
Bye.
night.
we